There are many, many people who have contributed to the advancement of SIFE. However, there is one person who has been there through it all, the ups, the downs, and the turnarounds, and that is Alvin Rohrs. With the reach of SIFE, there are not enough days in the week or weeks in the year for Alvin to attend every single national exposition. But guess what? He's here with us in Calgary. And we could not be more honored. For those who don't know Alvin, I can tell you that in 1982, he received his Juris Doctorate from the University of Missouri Columbia School of Law, where he graduated in the top 10% of his class with full honors. He received his bachelor's degree from Southwest Baptist University in Bolivar, Missouri in 1979, where he was a charter member of the SIFE team and won national honors in speech and debate, although he may tell you here tonight that he had no national honors as a student with SIFE. Now, after graduation, Alvin served Southwest Baptist University as director of the Gene Taylor National Free Enterprise Center. And it's been since 1982 that Dr. Alvin Rohrs has served as the president and chief executive officer of SIFE Worldwide. Under his leadership, SIFE has grown from 18 universities just in the United States to, as previously mentioned, 1,600 universities in 39 countries with over 57,000 students. Above and beyond all that, I think it's important to note that his heart and soul is SIFE. He bleeds blue. And he is here to tell you his story. As someone who has had the privilege of getting to know Alvin as a leader, a mentor, and friend, I know it will be a story that inspires you all. With that said, and without further ado, everyone, please help me give a true Canadian welcome to the President and Chief Executive Officer of SIFE Worldwide, Dr. Alvin Rohrs.
I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, saying, ayo, gotta let go. I wanna celebrate and live my life, saying, ayo.
Thank you for that great introduction, Amy. Check is in the mail. I appreciate those. Well, since you gave me such a great introduction, I think the most logical thing to do is actually talk about me, because I am a really big deal. I'd like to start, as she thought I probably would, I'd like to share with you my experience as a SIFE student. Some of you may have heard the story at the World Cup, but I'll share with you what an incredibly talented student I was. We were one of the charter chapters, teams of SIFE at my university. We worked very hard, and all three of us completed 2 incredible projects. And we did a presentation for our dean and faculty my junior year in college, and they unanimously voted not to let us go to the competition because they thought we'd embarrass the institution. So my senior year in SIFE, we worked really hard. I think we got up to maybe, I don't know, 6 of us, and we had like 2, 3 good projects. But we decided we were going to go to the regional competition. So we called our faculty advisor at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we said, we're coming by your house in 30 minutes. If you want to go to the regional with us, come and get in the car. It's a 4-hour drive, but we're going to go compete. So we did. And we really did embarrass our community. We didn't even get honorable mention, you know. I tell people ask me, why did you become the president of SIFE? I said, it's the only way I could get to the national competition. Join the SIFE headquarters. So for those of you who are not going to walk away with the trophies you came to win, I know exactly how you feel. In fact, I actually can feel worse than you, because as part of the competition in those days in SIFE, you actually had to put a booth up and go do a presentation, kind of like a science fair booth. And in our booth, we actually had done a competition for younger kids and had given out trophies, and we had a couple trophies sitting there. And while we were doing our presentation, somebody stole the trophies out of our booth, and we actually went home with fewer trophies than we came to the event with. It was crazy. So then I went off to law school and came back, was the SIFE faculty advisor at my alma mater for a year, really kind of beginning right out of law school. Was asked to step in and take over as the SIFE leader. And as Amy mentioned, at that time we had 18 universities, and I'd like to share again with you how brilliant I was as a leader. So in 1982, we had 18 SIFE teams, and I worked absolutely as hard as I possibly could, and in 1983, we had 18 SIFE teams. And I worked really even harder and added a few staff, and in 1984, we had 22 SIFE teams. And then we met a guy named Jack Shoemaker. At that time, he was the vice chairman and CFO of a company called Walmart. They were a regional company wanting to become national and global. We were a small regional organization wanting to survive till next week. Jack had a lot of stature in the business world, but agreed to come on and serve as chairman of our board. In 1985, we went from 22 SIFE teams to 65, all in 1 year with the help of Jack Shoemaker as the chairman of our board. The lesson I've taken out of that is that if SIFE had lived the dream I had, we would probably have capped out at, if we were lucky, 150 to 200 colleges, probably only in the United States. But Jack Shoemaker came on as chairman and said, "How high is up?" That's one of his great expressions. Challenged us to think bigger. And we began to grow very fast in the United States. And then several years later, Jack challenged us as an organization to think about, shouldn't we do beyond the United States? And it was tough to make that decision that, yes, we wanted to be an international operation, because we were always struggling to do everything we could in the United States. But the thing I have learned is you have to share your dream, and then you have to be open to letting others grow your dream bigger than you thought it could be. And to all of you here today, I'd encourage you to think about that. As big as your dreams are for yourself, for your SIFE team, for your country, if you will allow other people to join in that dream and help it grow, it will grow much bigger than you thought. You know, it took a lot of courage a few years ago for Ian Aiken and the ACE board and the leadership of ACE to make a decision that they wanted to be part of an international organization called SIFE. It would have been very easy to say, we're about Canada, and we're only doing Canada, and we're doing great things in Canada. And that's our dream, and that was the dream. And I applaud Ian for 25 years ago having the dream to start this great organization. So Ian, I salute you for that incredible work. And I salute Ian and the leadership of ACE for having the courage to open the dream that ACE could be even bigger in Canada by becoming part of a bigger global international movement. Because not only are you making Canada better, you're building a better Canada, you're helping build a better world. And I salute them for that courage to do that and to say we want to be a part of something bigger. I just want to share with you a couple of things that I've learned in my leadership with SIFE. One of the things I learned early, I had one of those teachers who was a mentor of mine who said, the person that knows how will usually have a job, and the person that knows why will usually be the boss. So I have spent my life searching for the why. And I have learned that if you want people to be part of your dream, you have to share with them the why of your dream. I also have learned in work that if people working with you understand the why of their jobs, they do them much better and with much more commitment than if they just know the how. So I'd encourage all of you to learn the why and to teach the why. One of the lessons I learned from my good friend Jack Shoemaker was an expression he had on his wall. It says, if you treat people as if they are who they are, that's who they will be. But if you treat people as if they are who they can become, then that's who they will become. I was 25 years old when I met Jack as the president and CEO of SIFE. I thought I knew everything, but when I look back, I marvel at how little I knew and how green I was. And Jack Shoemaker was a very accomplished leader, but he said, I'll mentor you and help you become a leader. And he and multiple other people that became a part of this organization around the world have helped me learn a lot. But he saw in me something that I didn't even see and made me grow. I think the thing that attracts so many of us in this room to be a part of this organization is we see more of what you students can do than sometimes you even think you can do. And I think, quite frankly, sometimes you amaze the adults that you do what you do, that they didn't think you could do what you do. But if you think about the people you reach in your communities, what you're really doing is sharing with them that idea that we believe you can be who you really can become. And we're going to help you get there because we see in you an even bigger, better person than you are now, and we want to help you get there. I've shared over the years with students as I've spoke with them, as you go through life and go through competition, you will find as you get older and mature a little bit that the most important competition you will ever run or face is the competition between the you that you are and the you that you know you can become. And the amazing thing about that is as you compete to become the you know you can become, that definition of who you can become grows even more and becomes even more difficult to reach. But I think that competition you will find at the end of the day, if you don't walk away with all the trophies, I think one of the things all of you can walk away with is that you are a better person, a better leader, a better friend, and you'll be a better business leader in the future because of what you've done this year through your projects, through your work back in your communities, regardless of what kind of hardware you take away from here. One of the other things I learned early in my career is the lesson of the mirror and the window. So when you don't win the trophy you're going to want to win, the tendency is the first place you look is out the window. It's got to be the judge's fault. They just did not get it. They didn't figure out that we were so much better than the others. You might actually make the mistake of blaming your teammates. If Freddie just would have stepped up a little bit more, if Mary would have done a little more, we would have been over the top. If you really want to be a real leader and a real winner, what you need to do is when things go bad and you don't win all the trophies you want, the first place you need to look is in the mirror, not out the window. You look in the mirror and you own what's your fault. You take accountability for what you could have done better. Maybe Mary could have stepped that up, but I probably could have stepped it up too. And the second place you look is then you go look at how could you have that conversation with Mary about how she could have stepped it up a little bit. But you first look in the mirror when things go bad, when you don't win what you want. But when things are really good, when you walk away as a champion trophy, whoever wins that trophy, get over yourself. Do you really think you did it by yourself? Look out the window. Look at your teammates. Look at your faculty. Look at your deans. Look at your moms and dads who helped you get where you were. Look at that teacher in the 3rd grade that made you actually do math the hard way and you got it right. So when things are going bad, look in the mirror and accept accountability. Things are going good, look out the window. that will help you treat people as who they can become. The other thing I'd like all of you to think about is open up your mind. Some of you are here today to beat the competition, and that's great. We believe in competition as an organization. It's a part of core of who we are. We believe that competition leads to excellence. It leads to striving for more. We believe that recognition leads to better results. We believe very much in competition. But I'd encourage all of you to think about this. In your life growing up as kids, wasn't some of the best competition you ever had some of the people that were your best friends? I still remember the day I beat my dad at Monopoly. I still remember the day I beat my big brother at football. Don't let your competitors become your enemies. You are a part of an incredible movement here in Canada that's called SIFE. Look at your competitors as your family. Do your absolute best to beat them. Don't hold anything back. But cheer them on when they win. Get to know them. It breaks my heart when I go to SIFE events and I see SIFE teams hang out in little clusters with each other and they never meet the other people from the other teams. Look at the other teams as your family and your community. Look at the other teams as the people you want to get to know in the next 3 days and for the rest of your life. You will walk away with friends that will be more valuable than anything else you'll get out of this event. So I encourage all of you, don't let your competitors become your enemies. Work to make your competitors your friends. Treat people as if they are who they can become. And I ask all of you to think about opening your world. We invite you all to the SIFE World Cup in Washington, D.C. It's going to be an incredible event in December. There will be students there from 39 other countries at least. There may be 40 or 50 countries, as we have a lot of people coming to see the event, thinking about doing SIFE in their countries. There will probably be 4,000 people there. It is a unique experience. We consider it the world's premier cross-generational leadership experience for business. You will get to know young people from around the world. You will make friends for a lifetime. You will learn how the rest of the world sees you and how they see themselves and how they see the world's problems. I would encourage all of you to think about coming to that event. But more importantly, I would encourage all of you to think about you bigger. You are part of a team. Your team is part of ACE. ACE is part of SIFE Worldwide. I'd ask all of you to think about more than I want to go win the World Cup, which I hope you really want to go do, but think about I want to go be a part of this big community, and I want to be a part of this community the rest of my life. So I think SIFE is bigger than each of us. It's bigger than all of us. I think the opportunity is for us to create that kind of community that for the rest of our lives we can know the world's better because we become a part of this movement. I'm honored to be here tonight to see the incredible progress that has been made in Canada with ACE. I actually came to the national competition, I don't know, 15 years ago maybe, before it was part of the international organization. I was impressed with them. I'm amazed now. You guys are awesome. I'd like to congratulate Ian and Amy and the board and Nicole and all the leadership for the incredible work they've done this year. I guess the last thing I'd like to share with all of you is the one thing I've learned by having the privilege of getting to know great leaders and great entrepreneurs around the world. One of the things I've noticed about them is they always manage to see beyond the obvious. I think that's what makes them exceptional. So I encourage all of you as you go through life, open your dreams to others, learn the why, teach the why, treat people as you know they can become who they can become, and they will. Use the mirror and the window appropriately, and then look beyond the obvious. See what other people don't see. See in other people what other people don't see. But that's where opportunity comes, from looking past the obvious and the ordinary. What is different about this? Look through different eyes. And with that, I say to all of you, good luck in the competition. Congratulations on what you did to get here. And I hope to see all of you at the SIFE World Cup. Thank you very much.
We would now like to open the floor to questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand and a mic will be provided.
Anybody got a question? Anybody got an answer? I think there's one over here. Going once, going twice.
Just curious what your first program was.
What's that?
What your first program was that you set up for SIFE?
My first project as a student?
Yes.
Promise you won't laugh? We did a video series, actually a film strip series in a local grade school teaching basic banking and money management. We reached a whopping 20 students. That was good. And we got wrote up in the local newspaper. It was such a big deal. It was fun. Other questions? We got a question over here. Anybody got a microphone or?
Hi. Where do you see SIFE going in? Where do you see SIFE going in the future, and how do you plan to get there? Where do you see SIFE going in the future, and how do you plan to get there, and what are your objectives to reach that goal?
You know what? I can't hear any of those because of the speakers where they are.
I could probably just yell and you'll hear me.
Where do I see SIFE going in the future, and how are we going to get there? If I told you, it'd scare you to death. In all honesty, I think we're at 10% of our potential. So you guys do the math. How we're going to get there, we're going to do more of what we do here. We're going to have more alignment with SIFE around the world. We're going to be a lot more aggressive in how we use social media. But I think more importantly, we're going to have more people helping more people live better lives, and that's going to make a huge difference. So I think 10 years from now, we will be a much more visible organization, a much larger organization. I think we will be in a position where people will know us when they hear the name, know what we do, know why we do it. And I think we'll be helping. Right now, we help about 5 million people a year live better lives around the world because of this organization. I think we will transform the world more than just change the world. And we are seeing transformation happening in some countries where our students are, in fact, changing entire villages and entire provinces and changing the history of countries. And not that far down the road, we will probably see some of our alums who are leading those countries. There could very well be a prime minister in the room today.
Question?
What was the biggest mistake you've made in your business career, and what did you learn from it?
The biggest mistake I've made in my career, well, I tell you, the best decision I made in my life is I married her, my wife Elizabeth. You know, the biggest mistakes I've made are working with people. And to be real honest with you, I used to be a real jerk. and I did not treat people the way they should be treated, and I did not treat them as if they could be who they could become. And I really regret that with some of the people I worked with. Most of the big mistakes that I've made over the years have been hiring the wrong people and not firing the wrong people fast enough. And it is about having the right people in the right place, doing the right work in the right way. And I have found, quite frankly, when people aren't doing it right, you and they are both better off when they're somewhere else, because their life is much happier and so is yours. That's a hard thing to do. The hardest thing you have to do as a boss is fire somebody. It changes their life, it's no doubt. But you do it in the right way, for the right reasons, at the right time. You communicate it fairly, you treat them appropriately. But I have found out with all of those cases, their lives were better after they got where they fit. Because lots of times, they're not good people or bad people, they just don't fit what they're supposed to do then. So that's kind of where the biggest mistakes in my career have been, in how I treat people, treated people, and working with people.
One more question.
Hi, I'm with SIFE Ryerson. My question is related to the name change that I saw your video on the request for name change. And I come to really love the SIFE name, not just what we stand for and what we do, but the actual name. So I was just wondering, can you explain why the decision, the pros and cons of it, and where that's headed so far?
Sure. I've shared with the faculty and the student leadership group earlier today a little bit. I have been a student or an employee working under the label Students in Free Enterprise SIFE for 35 years now. We have made a decision that we need a new name. That was a very difficult decision to go down that path. We made the decision after a lot of confusion. I think in Canada it's one of the issues as well. Is it ACE? Is it SIFE? Is it SIFE? Is it ACE? With SIFE, the confusion was, is it Students in Free Enterprise SIFE, or SIFE Students in Free Enterprise, or is it SIFE alone? SIFE alone, those 4 letters don't carry a lot of weight. We did research with a really great agency, Landor is the name of the agency. And the research basically said that the name of the organization doesn't match the emotion that's attached to it with the people. And the name doesn't really quite work. If you take away the emotion all of us have attached to those 4 letters, and take the emotion away and look at those 4 letters, standing alone, they don't get you very far. The other thing we found as we talked to all of our country leaders is the pronunciation of SIFE, because it can be pronounced as a word, SIFE or SIF or SIFE or SIFE, actually doesn't work too well. In one country it means sword. In another country it means death. You imagine the banner, "Welcome to the Death National Competition"? The attendance was pretty slow that first year. And in one country, it actually is a word, if you see something really disgusting, you say that word SIF and then you spit afterwards. So you could imagine the challenges the students and the faculty and the country leaders were having in making our brand work in their countries. We didn't do a linguistic screen of the name we have now. Had we done it, we probably wouldn't have gone international, so it's probably better we did it kind of with our eyes closed and our ears closed to just go do it. But we think the time is right now to have a new name. We've got really good partners who we're working with. We asked the network before we made final decision. We opened it up for all of you to submit any name that you thought might work. And we want to rally everybody around the world behind that new name, whatever it is. The one thing I would assure you is the experience you're having and why you love this organization is not going to change. If it changes at all, it'll be even better as we go forward under a new name. But the label on top of it, we want everybody in the world to have one name that everybody can align behind, and a name that really expresses what kind of organization we are now. So that's really kind of why we've gone down this path. We anticipate making the decision in the next couple of months, announcing it to our internal partners, all of you, in probably end of July, 1st of August, and then use the World Cup in Washington as the way to really tell the rest of the world by that event we'll be under the new name. So sometime before that event actually kicks in, we'll relabel everything under the new name for that. But we're excited about the opportunity that it gives us. It also gives us an opportunity for a rebranding initiative to actually boost the visibility, and I think that will be valuable for all of us.
Alvin, I remember actually a couple of years ago listening to you and talking about our ability to be able to change the course of history. And I actually remember coming back to Canada and having a conversation with our team and said, we can do this and we will. I can tell you that Canada is fully behind our ability, fully understands its power. We believe in what we can become. We will do it. We will be there. We will be behind you, and we will change the world. Right, guys?
Thank you. Well, the last thing I'd like to say is within the SIFE network, within the SIFE family around the world, Canada is greatly respected for the leadership you have in your board and the leadership you have in your management group. And Amy and her team have been a real resource for a lot of other country leaders to call and ask, how do you do this and how do you do that? So this organization has been a real model for a lot of other countries that are wanting to, quite frankly, catch up to you, and most of them are well behind where all of you are. So thank you for Canada for being such a great part of the family, and thank all of you for the incredible work you've done this year.
Now, Alvin, you may not be aware of this, but Calgary's prerequisite Western accessory is the white cowboy hat. Actually, it has become an iconic symbol for the city, presented to visiting dignitaries and celebrities, including such notables as the Dalai Lama, Bob Dylan, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Clinton, and most recently the Duke Duck. Wow. The Duke and Duchesses of Cambridge. As the white hat symbolizes the spirit of Calgary, all that's great about this part of our country. Alvin, we couldn't think of a better way to thank you than to ensure you went home with a bit of Calgary. So with that said, Preston, everyone, we're going to present Alvin with his first white hat.
So what Amy doesn't know, I love this hat. I grew up as a farm boy, country boy. I wore a hat like this every day of my life until I was probably 19 years old. And when I scored my first big score and got my best test score in law school, I went and bought a Stetson hat. So this, and I don't have them anymore. So this is wonderful. Thank you very, very much. I will wear it very proudly.
Thank you, Alvin.